So you're building your personal brand or business and you're having a little bit of issues with structuring your brand messaging and with building community. So that's what this video was for. I'm going to help you in 4 easy tips. But if you have not watched my previous videos on personal branding, I definitely recommend you watch those first because it's going to help you learn what a personal brand is, how you can build your personal brand, and all the things that come with that. Personal branding tip number 1 was talking about building personality. And today, of course, we're going to talk about brand messaging and building community. You want your brand messaging to be concise and persuasive. The reason why I stress this is because we don't need long bios, we don't need long intros, we don't need long introductions anymore because people just want to get to the point. When they're figuring out what your personal brand is and what you're about and whatever you are promoting, they want to get to the point. And I also think that it's important when you start working with brands, if you are into getting brand sponsorships and things like that, when they go to your page, they should automatically know what you're talking about or what type of content you produce. So it needs to be persuasive and concise. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to always use my personal brand and my church as an example because we are currently rebranding at the moment slightly. And it's just easy for me because, I do this every single day. But I remember a few years ago when my church was moving into a new location. And the only logo we really had was a shield, very busy, very colorful. And it didn't necessarily represent the heart of the church and what the mission of the church was, right? Also, we have a mission statement, super long. I can recite it in my head. It's probably about 5 sentences, right? And we would always cite that after church or before church or wherever, our pastor wanted to fit it into service just to get it in the members' head. This is what our mission is. This is what we're about, right? But when it came to reaching the community and when it came to reaching those who were not necessarily members, it was really a struggle trying to figure out what type of church is this? What is their mission? What is, what's different from this church from the one down the street, right? So our slogan had always been pure gospel, pure faith, and pure truth. But we never pushed that. We pushed our mission statement more than anything. So our mission is to affect our community and its surroundings by restoring faith, which will bring about a better understanding of God and the purpose for his people through the gospel of Jesus Christ. You see how long that is? The reason why I know this because we literally used to recite it all the time. But from someone on the outside looking in or when they come in service, yeah, they get to experience your mission statement if you're stating it, right? If you happen to be stating it in service, right? If it's just a declaration period in your service, but from the outside looking in, they're just going to be like, okay, our mission statement is on our website, it's on our banners, it's on different things. But let me tell you, people just nowadays, they want stuff quick. They want to know, what is this church about, right? So we decided to flip it. We still have our mission statement, but we decided to push our slogan more. Pure gospel, pure faith, pure truth. Because those little 3 words, 3 stanzas right there was more than enough to tell you this is what the church is about. So we started pushing that more just because it was easier to understand. So that's what I mean when it comes to creating a persuasive and concise brand messaging. You want to make sure it's concise, okay? The attention span of people who are watching you is very short, okay? Very short. They want you to get to the point, okay, as quick as possible. Now, I don't mean that you have to stick to one niche or stick to, one specific area. You can still layer your content, but it still needs to be very concise in how you are displaying that. So, for example, I'll just use my personal brand as an example. My main Instagram page and my main YouTube channel, it really just displays how to own your field in life, faith, and business. That's it, period. So I talk about my life, I talk about, my faith and what's that rooted in, and I talk about my business, brand identity and photography and everything like that. But I didn't necessarily need to put, I am a New Jersey-based photographer who also is a minister and is passionate about her faith, who also wants to share with you her life. It does not need to be that dramatic. Owning your field in life, faith, and business. That's it. So I had to make sure that my brand messaging was concise and persuasive. When people go to my page on YouTube or Instagram, what are they seeing? What is Tatiana about? What is this brand about? Okay. So make sure that your brand messaging is persuasive and concise. I feel like I always switch it, concise and persuasive. Either way, just make sure it's to the point. Persuasive messaging converts your listeners and your followers into supporters and customers. Trust me, trust me. When you are persuasive, when you are able to sell something like this, whether it's yourself or a product or whatever it is, people will keep coming back. And then when they keep coming back, then they'll be like, you know what? I can officially say I am a supporter of Tatiana Samaria. I can officially say I am a customer of X, Y, and Z Incorporated. People will definitely come back if your message is persuasive enough that brings them in and keeps them in, right? If you can promote these Beyonce tickets and this Beyonce tour, you can promote your personal brand or business. I promise you have to get creative. And this goes back to point number one when it comes to personality and self-image. If you are down to earth, if you are fun, if you are funky, if you are, I don't know, if you just have a personality that you know you can sell, granted, don't get me wrong, everybody can sell something, okay? You don't have to be fun, funky, and whatever, all those crazy adjectives to sell something. Even if you're a more laid back and reserved person, use that to your advantage. God did not give you the personality you have for you to sit on it. And don't look at people like Tabitha Brown and feel like you have to have this super bubbly personality just to sell your personal brand. You do not have to be that. There is somebody out there for you. Somebody out there for you. There is an entire person. If I can find his Instagram, I will put it right here in the video. He literally talks about being an introvert. That's his brand. He talks about being an introvert. And it's almost like you're watching and you're listening and you're thinking about what introverts think about. And when I found his page, I'm like, yo, this is freaking genius. Like, this is all he talks about. These are all his reels are about. But it's genius. Again, your personality and your persuasive messaging will go hand in hand. So get creative. Your personality can be the thing that persuades someone to come into your personal brand, experience their personal brand, and stay. Okay? And then now we're going into building community. Now that you have persuaded your followers or your supporters or your customers, whatever, into your personal brand, now it is time to build a community around them. Even if you have only a few followers or supporters, it is important to get their idea or their opinion on what type of content they want to see from you. So I did this recently before I rebranded my YouTube and came back officially, and before I rebranded my Instagram. I put up several polls on my Instagram story and on my YouTube's community tab. I put up several polls asking what type of content do you want to see? And I gave like 3 different options. And again, I did it probably twice because the first time I was like, oh, I want more of a response. The second time I got a better response. So right now, my main platform is YouTube, and then my secondary platform is Instagram, which is the reason why I did the poll on both. If you only have one, we'll get into that. But I did it on both. And the reason why I thought that it was so crazy was because I finally realized once I did that poll that my followers on these platforms were different, number one. And number two, they wanted to see different types of content on each platform. I was blown away because I'm thinking like, okay, the reels that I'm creating on Instagram, I always move over to YouTube Shorts. But that may not work all the time. Don't get me wrong, you can repurpose content, you can do all that. But I realized, wow, my YouTube community wants to see something a little bit different than what my Instagram community wants to see. So it's important for you to, again, I don't care if it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 people, get the feedback from those people, continue to push it out, because most likely they are in a group where they follow people who also is in the same niche as them, or they like the same thing. So they're just going to keep sharing to their community, and that community is going to share to this community. And next thing you know, you're going to have a large following. So you want to make sure that you get the opinion of those who are already watching you, and ask your friends and family, what are you good at? Again, I said this in the last video, but if you're the one and you go out to a restaurant and you're the one that's always putting the bill together, maybe you're good at finance, maybe you're good at organization, maybe you're good at order. And if you want to build that into your personal brand, then why not? Why not? My last point is to figure out your platform. So there's too many platforms out there. There's YouTube, there's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, because Facebook is starting to add everything, child. There's literally Twitter, there's blogs, there's so much out there that you can build a personal brand with and on. And I think it's really important to pick a platform. So like I said, I have 2. I really think it's important for you to perfect one. But if you feel like you need more than one, I would say 2 at the max. So YouTube is my primary, Instagram is my secondary. Sometimes I post on TikTok, sometimes I post on Twitter, but they're not a priority. It's not going to stress me out if I don't post on TikTok for 10 days. Like it's not, you know, it's a platform I go on, and most of the time it's repurposed content anyway. It's something I posted on Instagram or YouTube like 10 days ago, and because my following is also different on TikTok, they may have not seen it if they don't subscribe to me on YouTube or follow me on Instagram. So again, make sure you stick with at least 1 to 2 platforms, perfect those, and you'll be good to go. Here's the thing about building community though. Once you have established what platform you are in, then you can start to enter in different ways of building a community. Here's what I mean. Once you have stuck with YouTube, or once you have stuck with your blog, or once you have stuck with Instagram, then you can go into email marketing, because you have to have a platform. How are we getting these emails, right? You can get into email marketing. You can get into maybe a podcast you want to start. You can get into creating a free course. You can get into building a website that maybe houses the community that you're trying to build. Like, I know a lot of people do Facebook groups, but maybe you want to house that actual community in that group on your personal website. So there's many different ways you can kind of inch into building an even larger community outside of social media. But I think it's really important to establish what platform you're going to post on first before you get into like the meat and potatoes, because email marketing is not, I'm just now getting into that, and that is a whole different beast. Okay, but you want to make sure, again, perfecting the content that you're doing on whatever platform you're in before you can get into other ways to build a community. Don't forget, make sure your messaging is concise and persuasive, and make sure that you are building communities on 1 to 2 platforms, and that you are engaging with them. You're doing polls, you're really understanding, or you're really taking what they say into consideration when you are creating content or building your business. So y'all, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.